Okay, you guys want to hear my craziest fan theory for My Hero Academia? I'm going to start this video off by saying it is not true, it has been disproven, but I think it's fun. So, All Might had all of the quirks. So now that we know the second's quirk, um, there are some in here that are pretty stretchy, but again, I just think it's fun to talk about. So, I'll just go through all of them. We know the ninth didn't have a quirk, neither did the eighth. Seventh had float. In the very first episode, we see All Might jump with so much force that he can basically fly across the city. That's cool and all, but physically it doesn't make any sense because the momentum, the direction of the momentum, like gravity, right? He's just drifting forward. It really just looks like he's floating. He does this alongside Nana, like everything. But again, it's anime, so that's easy to explain away, sure. But what about Smoke, the sixth? So again, anime trope. But why is it that every time All Might needs to conceal his body, it's not just like a random effect. It's when he's trying to hide himself from people. So when he transforms, he generates smoke to hide that weaker body. Again, everybody loves a good transformation in anime. We have an explanation for this. He's flexing every muscle in his body, so that explains the transformation. But bodies don't smoke like that, But we see again, in anime, it's a trope, but it kind of adds in, right? Now the fifth, we haven't seen Black Whip, but Black Whip isn't really a quirk that would manifest in All Might, because All Might is more of a power hero, and Black Whip manifested because Deku needed it to capture. So, moving on to the fourth, Danger Sense, All Might literally has something he calls Might Sense, which lets him detect people across the city who are in danger. You see this a lot in Vigilantes, like more than the original, and the reason for that is you don't see a ton of All Might in Vigilantes, but you see him kind of jumping around, and I guess early in the anime is when I'll reference, because you see All Might being late to school and things like that because he's running around doing hero things. So All Might is just picking up on danger all over the place. People in danger, just like Danger Sense. Moving on to the thirds, which is, I believe, Fajin. I could be pronouncing that poorly, but that's what I've seen. So that is storing up power through like repeated motion, for example, right? Deku does this all the time to be able to do a strong punch. We see All Might doing squats before he jumps, things like that. Once again, it's anime. He's just moving. He's just a character, but that builds up, and then he explodes that power out and jumps really high into the sky. Lastly, we have Gear Shift. And again, like I said, I know this is a stretch, but Gear Shift, there's one particular scene in Vigilantes where we see All Might move so fast, it is just inhuman. Now, we see that a couple times in My Hero, and it's kind of just explained away with All Might's super strength and super speed. He's just the peak of everything. But what if he could gear shift himself without realizing it up to 5th gear and take out all the bomber villains? So, essentially, we see every quirk manifested in All Might. Personally, I would love to see All Might use all of those quirks one time. We know the Ember's gone, but if Midoriya were in danger and Black Whip pulls him away, and then All Might can manifest all the quirks to fight All for One, that would destroy me, because Deku's fight isn't even really against All for One, at least not on the physical plane. I think that final fight is going to happen in the kind of what is it, spirit plane, the astral plane, or whatever they call it. So it wouldn't really detract from the final fight either. I don't think that's going to happen, but, like I said, it's fun to talk about. But the more realistic thing here is I think Horikoshi is a great writer, because while I don't think All Might truly has all those quirks, it is pretty much undeniable that he utilizes something very similar to most of them. And so Black Whip is pretty much completely excluded, and Gear Shift is a huge stretch if I'm honest. But Black Whip is the first quirk that Deku manifests, and Gear Shift is the last. So all of the other ones, the Float, Smoke, and Fajin, as well as Danger Sense, those four All Might basically uses, and I think that is just foreshadowing, because we wouldn't know to be looking for Black Whip, right? We wouldn't know to look for another quirk. But then as soon as that awakens, that's when we can look back and say, wait, what are these other quirks? And we can look at All Might and see some of the things that he does and be like, oh, Deku will probably get something like this. And I personally didn't make those connections then. When I know the quirks, I think it's fun to look at how it could be. But I think that there was some foreshadowing here. So there you have it. My crackpot fan theory that is already disproven, but I don't know, could make a fun fan fiction. And a little bit of applicability to something that might be a legitimate intentional thing. But I don't know. Tell me what you think, guys. How far am I reaching with some of these? And do you think it'd be cool, maybe even in just a non-canon thing, to see All Might using all of these quirks? Let me know what you think. And that's it for today. I just wanted to share a fun theory. I guess I won't call it a theory. I would call it okay, I guess theory is the only word, right? But it's more of like a playful idea. Anyway, that's it for today. I will talk to you next time. Until then, I love you. Goodbye.